What's up guys, Gaonan here, and today I'm going to continue my climb to Masters. As I've said before, I started this series because I wanted to share my knowledge and have some fun. Since Fall of Argenport I've hit Masters every month, ending in the top 50 each time. My best rank was rank 9. I also just want to have fun. I love playing and talking about Eternal, so if you want to add me, feel free to do so using this tag. Without further ado, let's get into our second draft of the month so we can continue our climb to Masters. Let's look at what we've got for our first pack. Cards that jump out at me right away are Railgun's Disciple, Fierce, Mossaraptor, and Wormstone. Learned Herbalist is good too, so I think I'm just going to take Railgun's here because the other two are not as exciting as the Railgun's Disciple is. Okay, we've got some interesting choices here between Master at Arms, Welding Torch, Coastal Battle Mage. I think those are the three strongest cards. There are other playable cards in here, but those are really the three we should be focused on. Coastal Battle Mage kind of commits us to green a little bit more since it's a double justice card. Master at Arms is very strong, really like the card. Welding Torch is strong too. Given that we already have a Justice card, I'm going to pick Master at Arms here to stay in our lane and stay as open as possible. There's not a whole lot here for us. For me, I'm looking at either Substitute or Grimy, so I'm just going to take the Grimy and keep moving. Some nice time cards coming through, not much Justice here. I like Learned Herbalist because it allows us to splash pretty easily, gives us a spell. Watchful Amanera is also very good because it's a nice big butt and allows us to scout when we play spells and smooth out our draws. So for me, I'm going to take the Herbalist here. I like it a little bit more than Amanera. Alright, you've heard me say before how I don't really like Reinforced Baton. I think honestly I'm between either the Cut Ties or the Spike Back. I think Cut Ties is just stronger than Spike Back is. It's unconditional removal, so pretty good pickup here. Alright, we've either got Lingering Influence or Subterranean Century. Everything else is pretty much filler. I think I'm going to pick the Lingering Influence here. Alright, a good time card, a decent Justice card, even a decent Primal card here too. If I'm sticking with Justice, then Guard Dog is probably better. So I think I'm just going to take Guard Dog here over the Amanera. Now we see no Justice, no Time, no Shadow, so just a filler pick here. There might be a world where we play Spell Sword, but likely not. More filler picks here. I think I'm going to pick Drifter just because maybe we end up in red. And more filler picks. I think Scorpion Wasp is more interesting to me than Steward of the Past is. Yes, Steward blocks very well, makes for some awkward attacks too. So I'm just going to pick Scorpion Wasp here. Some interesting choices here. Strong cards would be Champion of Cunning, but there's no way that we're going to be playing that. Lumen Shepherd is probably the pick here. Katana is strong. Sky Snapper is strong. But yeah, I'm just going to take Shepherd and keep it moving. Alright, so there's not a lot here for us in Time or Justice. So I'm looking at the Shadow cards primarily. We don't have like any Primal, no noteworthy fire, so I don't think Katana or Snowcrust Yeti is really in the running. So looking at the two Shadow cards, I'm not going to have much of a way to get this Desperado through, so I think I prefer the Cabal Bludgeoner because between Justice and Shadow, you can get some decent weapons to activate this guy. Minotaur Oathkeeper is a great pickup. Ancient Lore is also pretty good. As I've mentioned before, we don't know if we're in Time yet, so I'm going to stick stay in my lane and just pick the Oath Keeper here to continue down the Justice path, as I think that's our strongest faction at the moment. So some pretty good shadow cards coming through, Trick and Justice as well, and I think I'm going to pick Strength of the Many here. Thorn Beast is decent, but I think I like Strength better here. Strong Shadow card coming through, so seems like Shadow is going to be our secondary color instead of Time, so I'm going to take the Moonlit Gargoyle here and keep moving. Extinguish is a great pickup. Removal is always nice. Nothing here for us, so just going to take the card that might make the deck. We could take the Rakano banner in case we end up splashing. I don't think we're going to play this ground crew in any scenario, so I'll take the banner here. Take the Waystone. Another card we're not going to play. Crown Watch Press Gang is a pretty good body. We do have at least one drop that it can go fetch for us. We could pick up the Smuggler's Stash. There's a chance we could splash it, given that we've taken the Rakano banner. Don't love Duskcaller. It's pretty much just a filler card. I don't play Tinker in my decks, and Detain is an okay trick, but nothing that I love having in my deck. So I'm going to take Smuggler's Stash because the power level of that is pretty high and could lead to an interesting deck. So I'll take that here. We have choices between Spirit Blade Stalker, Humble Instructor, and yeah, that's probably about it. Gonna pick up the Spirit Blade Stalker here, and because I think it's just a solid card. The lifesteal can be very relevant. But yeah, I'm getting kind of heavy on 4-drop, so I'm a little nervous about that. But then, you know, we get some nice cards coming through. Decent 2-drop and Unseen Agent. Probably what I'm gonna pick here. Thorn Beast is also an option, but I don't think we have a ton of units that we really want to sacrifice right now, so Unseen Agent makes sense to me. Another Extinguish. Could take another Waystone. We could take Whirling Duo. We don't really have the fixing to play the Whirling Duo at this point. I don't think it's necessarily what we would want to splash for anyway, because you kind of want to play it on curve. Later the game goes, the weaker it gets. I mean, it still has charge, so it can be relevant later in the game, but I think taking Waystone here is fine. Copper Hall Porter is a good 2-drop, you know, continues the power flowing. Combust is also a good removal spell. I'm just going to take the Porter and keep it moving. I'll take another Strength of Many here over a second Porter. I do need some more 2-drops. Right now we only have 3, but Strength of Many makes sense in a deck like this. Alright, none of these cards are going to be in our deck. Alright, on to pack 4, and between Shadow and Justice, there's one card that stands out among all the rest, and that's Purge Leader. Can't take this Welding Torch. I only have one free source for the Rakano, or for Fire Splash, so I don't think I'm going to be splashing for Smuggler's Stash or anything like that. So I'm just going to take the Purge Leader and keep it moving. Cut Ties is solid removal, Guard Dog is solid, Calligrapher is solid, Shadow Stalker is probably more in the vein of what we want. We've got a couple ways to activate Night. This guy's unblockable at night, so I think that'll be one way we potentially win. So I'm going to take him here. Peacekeeper's Helm. I've talked about the strength of it in both of my last drafts, and I think this is a good deck for it to be in, so like picking that up here. Saddle Up is a decent trick. We could technically play this Harbinger's Bite to continue making it night, but I like Saddle Up here better just because backing your stuff up with tricks is pretty strong, so I'm happy to take Saddle Up here. Abduct could be removal. It's also a tribute enabler. We only have a couple of tribute cards, so it might not make the deck. I think it's more likely to make the deck than Arcane Defenses or Spite Feeder, so we'll take it here. This is a really nice late pickup. Another Master at Arms is very good. Very solid on evasive units, so happy to see this here. Shame Bearer isn't great, but it is a 2-drop, so happy to have it. Nothing else for us here. Alright, so right now we're only at 15 units, so I think we have to take the Guard Dog over Sharpened Reflex. 16 units is still really low. So yeah, I think that could definitely hurt us. Harbinger's Bite is fine here. I don't like playing Hold Up. More cards we're not going to play. So we ended up kind of low on playables. We've only got 16 units at the moment, 1 attachment, and 9 spells. So let's look and make sure we didn't miss any units. Could play the Spell Sword. Alright, so we ended up pretty low on units, which is a little concerning. We've even got some pretty questionable ones in there right now. We only have 1 attachment, so not going to be able to make our units grow that large. And we've got some questionable spells in here too, so I'm a little worried about this draft. This is definitely going to be a 17 power deck. We do not have much flood protection, and we have a couple of cards in Copper Hall Porter and Lingering Influence that'll find us power, so definitely don't need more than 17 in this deck. Alright, so we need 2 cuts here. The first is going to be Detain, because we've got solid tricks in Strength of Many and Saddle Up already. I don't think we need the Detain. And then we're going to cut one of these units that is not very good, so it's either Spell Sword or Wisp Light. I don't love Spell Sword. Wisp Light is kind of like pseudo flood protection, and with Oathkeeper, you know, at least it has flying and can potentially attack for 3 a turn. So I think I like Wisp Light a little bit more than I like Spell Sword, but I almost never want to play this card in my deck, so kind of stinks that I have to just because of my low unit count, but I think cutting Spell Sword is fine here, and then this will be the deck. So now we just got to get some power in here and we'll be good to go. The 9-8 split is a little scary here because I would like to play Shadow Stalker on curve. I'm going to go 9-8 the opposite direction only because I have Lingering Influence. I have Copper Hall Porter to get me the second Justice, so it's going to be easier for me to get the second Justice than it is to get the second Shadow, and I want to be able to activate these Waystones for the night activation so that I can keep Shadow Stalker unblockable or keep Moonlit Gargoyle in the air. So I think this is the right way to go about it. Not super excited about this deck, but very interested to see how it goes. I just want to close by saying thank you for watching me draft and build the deck. I hope you can join me to watch the games as well. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on Twitter. That way you know when the videos go live. I can only post so many times to the subreddit each week, so let's get into some games.